$2212 Juliet calling back up 104th Street.
2212 Juliet, 104th Street. It's a copy. Give me a call back at Elders Lane, 75th Street.
Copy for 75th Street.
Okay. 2215 Mary, you can depart Metropolitan Avenue. Give me a call back at 7th Avenue.
$2212 Juliet calling back at 75th Street.
75th Street, Elders Lane, copy. Give me a switch over to Brooklyn Towers. I'll see you later.
Copy.
This is 2215 at Seneca.
Seneca Avenue, that's a copy. May switch over to Brooklyn Tower as well. Have a safe trip.
Copy. 2215 is at Seneca.
2215 Mary Seneca Avenue, that is a copy. Your next call back is Central Avenue.
Copy Central.
2220 Bravo, crossing line about 168.
220 Bravo, you made it part 168. Your next callback is 145.
Time for 145.
O2 Juliet is at Alabama Avenue.
Go to Juliet, Alabama. That is a cop. Proceed to your next stop, Broadway Junction.
And boy.
Twenty-two 15 is at Central Avenue.
215 Mary Central Avenue. That is a cop. You may proceed to your next stop, Myrtle Broadway.
Copy, Murder Broadway.
O2 Juliet is at Broadway Junction.
Go to Juliet, Broadway Junction. As a cop. Your next callback is Kazushko.
Copy.
Twenty-two 12 Juliet calling back at Crescent Street.
12 Juliet Crescent. That is a cop. Your next callback is Alabama Avenue.
Copy for Alabama Avenue.
2220 Bravo out of 168 at 145, pressure for CPW local.
220 Bravo. It's a cop for 145. Your next callback is 103rd.
Time for 103.
2215 is at Middle Broadway.
2215 Mary Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Your next callback, Hughes Street.
Copy, please.
At 230 Bravo, if not yet done so already, you can part 174 left, but no, you have doors open at 168.
Copy that right away. To Juliet is at Kazusto.
Just go that as a copy, push for the express line for your next callback to your next stop, Myrtle Broadway.
Copy.
This is 2215 at Hughes Street.
Team Mary Hughes, that is a copy, your next callback to your next stop, Marcy Avenue.
Copy from Marcy.
$2212 Juliet calling back at Alabama Avenue.
So Juliet, Alabama, that is a copy, your next callback is your next stop, Broadway Junction.
Copy for Broadway Junction.
What's up, Broken Tower 2222 at 75th Street.
2222 Juliet, Elders Lane, that is a copy, your next callback, Crescent Street.
Copy for Crescent.
$2215 is at Marcy Avenue.
2215 Marion Marcy Avenue has a copy for Jason lineup. Your next callback is Essex Street.
Copy, Essex.
Seneca Avenue.
225 Mary Seneca Avenue, that is a copy. Your next callback is Central Avenue.
Over.
O2 Juliet is at Middle Broadway.
To Juliet, Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Your next callback is Marcy Avenue.
Copy.
2220 Bravo out of 168 is calling back at 130.
2220 Bravo 103, that is a copy. Your next callback is 59th Street, Columbus Circle.
Time for 50 left Columbus.
2212 Juliet calling back at Broadway Junction.
2212 Juliet, that is a copy. Your next callback is Kosciuszko Street.
Copy.
168 for the 30.
Particularly for the 2230 is a copy. Your next callback is 145.
Copy.
O2 Juliet is at Marcy.
Juliet and Marcy Avenue, that is a copy. Push for J2 line up your next callback, Essex Street, to use cautions of further notice.
Copy.
2222 Juliet is at Crescent Street.
Yeah, Crescent, that is a copy. Your next callback is Alabama Avenue.
Copy for Alabama Avenue.
I'll make a 145.
3 Bravo 145, that is a copy. Push for the local line up your next callback to 103rd.
Copy.
2215 is at Essex Street.
2215 Mary Essex has a copy for Nassau Line. Your next callback is Canal Street.
Copy for now.
2225 Mary Central Avenue. That is a copy. Key out the door. Proceed max speed 50 miles per hour to Myrtle Broadway.
$2212 Juliet calling back at Kosciuszko Street.
Juliet Kosciuszko has a copy for the express line. Your next callback is Myrtle Broadway.
Copy from Myrtle Broadway.
2202 Juliet, you can resume normal speed to Essex.
Copy.
Twenty-two 20 Bravo to 168, calling back 59, Columbus, punching for 6th Avenue, Monarch.
2220 Bravo, your next callback is 42nd Street, Bryant Park.
Time for 42nd Bryant Park.
Okay.
RTC, what's the 25's call back to Mikey?
25 Mary, callbacks Myrtle Broadway.
Okay.
Hey Bravo, you can park the next let me know your doors open at 168.
7-4. I'm gonna operate really terribly this run. Okay, now let me chill. Alright.
$2215 is at Canal.
2215 Mary Canal, that is a copy. Push for the Lower Manhattan Line. Your next callback is Broad Street.
Copy, Broad.
Oh, what happened to my conductor?
Go to Broadway.
2225 Mary Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Holding for connection with the 2212 Juliet.
Perfect.
2212 Juliet calling back at Myrtle Avenue, Broadway.
2212 Juliet Myrtle Broadway has a copy connection established with the 2225 Mary. Both trains can clear out. 2225 Mary, your next callback is Hughes Street. 2212 Juliet, your callback is Marcy Avenue.
Copy from Marcy Avenue.
2238, Bravo callback at 168 doors open.
238 Bravo, that's a copy. May depart, next callback is 145.
Southward.
Alabama Avenue for the 2222.
22 Juliet at Alabama has a copy. Next callback to next stop, Broadway Junction.
Copy for Broadway Junction, East New York.
75th, Elders Lane.
232 Juliet Elders Lane has a copy. Next callback, Crescent Street.
Copy.
To Juliet is at Essex.
At Essex has a copy for Nassau Line. Your next callback is Canal Street.
Copy.
Calling back at 103rd.
223 Bravo 103rd, that is a copy. Next call back of United Street, Columbus Circle.
Copy.
Two Bravo out of 168 calling back at 42nd Bryant Park, pushing for 6,000 exposures.
220 Bravo Bryant Park, that is a copy. Next call back is West 4.
That copy, W4.
Broadway Junction 2222.
22 Juliet Broadway Junction has a copy. Next call back is Kosciuszko.
Copy for copy, let's go.
235 Mary, why are you at Myrtle Wyckoff, not Seneca?
This is the
2212 calling back at Marcy Avenue.
Okay, 2215 Mary at Broad Street, that is the copy. Push for Montague Street 2, your next callback is Lawrence.
Copy, Lawrence.
2212 Juliet at Marcy Avenue is the copy for J2 line, if your next callback is Essex.
Copy for Essex.
2235 Mary, proceed, that's a strike, your next callback is Central Avenue.
Twenty-two 46 Bravo crossing entrance into 168.
46 Bravo, you can depart 174, let me know you have doors open at 168.
4238 Bravo 168. Still will come back at 145.
238 Bravo 145 is the copy. Push for local, your next callback is 103rd.
Snapper.
Oh, to Juliet Val Canal.
2 Juliet Canal is the copy. Push for Juliet line, if your next callback is your last stop, Broad Street.
Copy.
Hughes Street.
25 Mary Hughes, that is a copy. You may proceed to your next stop, Marcy Avenue.
Cover.
Crescent.
32 Juliet at Crescent, that is a copy. Your next callback is Alabama Avenue.
Copy.
Doors open 168.
It's a copy. 2246 Juliet. Bravo. You still have about 2 minutes before you can depart.
Marcy, punching for J2 lineup.
225 Mary at Marcy Avenue, that is a copy. Please hold as a train in front of you heading to Essex. Engine 35 Mary at Central Avenue, that is a cop. Proceed to your next stop, Myrtle Broadway.
2220 Bravo out of 168 is at W4.
20 Bravo West 4th, that is a cop. Your next callback is Grand Street.
10 for Bush.
Bravo gets a lineup out of 168.
68, your next callback is 145. 9246 at a cop for 145.
Copy.
2235 Mary, that's a negative. Myrtle Broadway is clear for you. Okay, 2225 Mary, you may proceed to Essex Street with caution until further notice.
How much match power?
15.
13 power.
O2 Juliet is at Broad Street.
Juliet Broad Street, that is a copy. Discharge your passengers, punch through the relay, call back the relay.
Copy.
Two 235 Mary, Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Your next callback is Hughes Street.
$22.15 is at Lawrence Street.
215 Mary and Lawrence, that is a copy. Push for 4th Avenue local line if your next callback is 4th Avenue 9th Street.
Copy 4th Avenue.
2212 Juliet calling back at Essex Street.
12 Juliet, Essex, that is a copy. Push for Nassau line if your next callback is Canal Street.
2222 is at Kosciuszko.
222 Juliet, Kosciuszko, that is a copy. Push for the express line if your next callback to your next stop, Myrtle Broadway.
Copy from Myrtle Broadway.
Calling back
225
at
Mary, you may resume normal speed to Essex.
594 on the circle.
On circuit for 2230 Bravo, push for 6th Avenue line if your next callback 42nd Street, Bryant Park.
Copy.
O2 Juliet is at Relay.
2 Juliet, the relay, that is a copy. Change ends, let me know when you're ready to head back up.
At forward.
225 Mary, is that a copy for resume normal speed to Essex?
Two 20 Bravo out of 168 calling back at Green Street, punching for the Delta line.
History for 2220 Bravo, that is a copy. Your next callback is decall interlocking.
5th Avenue, 245.
2245 Mary at Seneca, that is a copy. Your next callback is Central Avenue.
Alabama.
Juliet, Alabama, that is a copy. Your next callback is your next stop, Broadway Junction.
Copy. 4238 Bravo 168, still will come back at 103rd.
VA Bravo 103rd is a copy. Your next callback, Columbus Circle.
It's a time roll. 59th Street, Columbus Circle. 45.
45 to 2246 Bravo, that is a copy. Your next callback is 103rd, punch for the local.
Copy.
2222 Myrtle Broadway.
Myrtle Broadway for the 2222 Juliet, that is a copy. Your next callback is, let me know when you're bypassing Marcy Avenue and hold there until further notice. I mean Hughes, not Marcy.
Copy for Hughes Street, passing. Hold at Hughes Street.
Until further notice, yes.
Alright, that's copy.
Point O2 Juliet, ready to head back up.
There's a copy of the 2250 Juliet back up to 121st Street. You may depart the layup. Let me know when you reach Broad Street.
2212 Juliet calling back at Canal Street.
2212 Juliet Canal has a copy for the Juliet line. Your next callback is your last stop, Broad Street.
Copy for Broad Street.
235 Mary Hughes has a copy. Your next callback is your next stop, Marcy Avenue.
Calling back at 42nd Street, Bryant Park.
Oh, Bryant Park, there's a copy. Next call back to West 4th.
Copy that.
Broadway Junction.
50 Juliet is at Parkway.
32 Juliet, Broadway Junction has a copy. Your next call back is Kajushko. 2250 Juliet at Broad Street. Your next call back is Chambers.
Copy.
2235 Mary Marcy Avenue has a copy. Push for J2 line. Your next call back is Essex Street.
2222 holding at Hughes Street Express Track.
222 Juliet that has a copy. Continue hold as a train in front of you at Marcy Avenue.
That's a copy.
2254 Bravo. If you're not yet done so already, you can depart 174 layup. Let me know when you have doors open at 168.
Trying to 45 is at Central Avenue.
245 Mary Central Avenue, that is a copy. Proceed to your next stop, Myrtle Broadway. Train 235, it's Essex. Okay, to Juliet, holding at Hughes Express. You may proceed to Marcy Avenue with caution.
That's a copy. Caution. How fast?
15. 2220 Rob Interlock, you may proceed. Your next callback is Atlantic Barclays, or Atlantic Pacific.
Atlantic Pacific.
$22.15 is at 4th Avenue, 9th Street.
4th Avenue, 9th Street for the 2250 Mary, that is a copy. Next callback's 36th Street.
Copy 36.
Train 254 Bravo, that's a copy. Doors open at 168. Your next callback is 145.
2212 Juliet at my last stop, Broad Street.
212 Juliet, Broad Street, that is a copy. Discharge your passengers, punch for the relay, call back at the relay.
Copy.
Train 245 is at Myrtle Broadway.
Mary Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Your next callback is Hughes Street.
10-4.
Calling back at West 4th Street, lower level.
230 Bravo, West 4th, that is a copy. Your next callback is Grant Street.
Copy.
Marcy Avenue for the 2222.
222 Juliet, Marcy Avenue, that is a copy. I'm going to hold you there for 1 minute because there's a train in front of you on the bridge.
That's a copy.
50 Juliet at
160 still will call back at 59 punch for 6th Avenue.
Alright, the 2250 Juliet at Chambers. Push for Juliet, line up. Your next callback is Essex Street.
Copy.
2238 Columbus Circle. Your next callback 42nd Street, Bryant Park.
4.
222 Juliet, you may depart Marcy Avenue. Push your J2 line up. Your next callback is Essex Street.
Copy for us.
235 Mary, Essex Street. That's College. Push for Nassau line. Your next callback is Canal Street.
2212 Juliet is at the layup.
212 Juliet, the layup, that is a copy. Change ends, let me know ready, head back up.
That's a copy.
20 Bravo is at Atlantic Pacific.
2220 Bravo Atlantic, that is a copy. Your next callback, 36th Street.
36th Street.
235 Mary, reload if you can. Let me know when you're reloaded. 2220 Juliet, please hold outside of Essex until further notice.
103 for the Bravo.
46 Bravo 103, your next callback is Columbus Circle.
Copy.
Let's go.
232 Juliet Cosby, but as a copy for the express line, your next callback is Myrtle Broadway.
Copy.
.2235 Mary, hold at Canal Street for 90 seconds.
Bravo is calling in a Grand.
230 Bravo Grand Street, that is a copy. Your next callback is decob interlocking. Push for the local lineup.
Copy that.
Hughes Street for the 2245.
I'm Mary Hughes. You may proceed to your next stop, Marcy Avenue. Calling for Marcy 2245.
As a copy.
2215 is at 36th Street.
2215 Mary 36 as a copy. Push for West End line for next callback to your next stop, 9th Avenue.
Copy 9.
235, you may depart Canal. Your next callback, Broad Street. Push for Juliet lineup.
2212 Juliet, ready to head back out of the relay.
That is a copy. You will be the 2100 back up to 121st. You may depart the lane. Let me know you have doors open at Broad Street.
It's at 2300, right?
That's 2300.
Yeah, 10-4.
This is a 2238 Bravo 168 still will come back at 42nd Street, punch to the Express.
35, you can call back at Broad Street. 2238 Bryant Park, your next callback to West 4th.
Import.
2245 is on Marcy Avenue.
2235 Mary Broad. 2254 Bravo 145, push for the local, your next callback is 103rd. 2245 Mary at Marcy Avenue, you're proceeding to Essex.
Avenue, Broadway.
Copy.
2300, you wanted me to call you back when I was in Broad Street, correct?
Yes, inside Broad Street.
Copy.
50 Juliet at Essex.
Juliet Essex, that is a copy. Proceed across the bridge. Your next callback is Marcy Avenue. Broadway from 2232 Juliet, that is a copy. Your next callback is Marcy Avenue.
Copy.
35 Mary you call back at Broad Street.
Bravo is at 36th Street, punching for West End.
2300 doors open at Broad Street.
20 Bravo 36 Street, that is a copy. Please hold to the train for you getting to 9th Avenue. 2300 Juliet at Broad Street, your next callback is Chambers.
Copy for Chambers Street.
2215 Mary is at 9th Avenue.
That is a copy. Your next callback, 62nd Street.
Copy 67.
2220 Bravo, you made to bar 36. You push for West End line for your next callback to 9th Avenue.
Calling back at the decob interlocking.
3 Bravo, decob interlocking. That is a copy. Your next callback is Atlantic Avenue, Pacific Street.
Copy. Pacific.
Essex Street for the 2222.
Juliet Essex has a copy. Push for Nassau line for your next callback to Canal Street.
Copy for Canal.
$22.38 Bravo 160 still will come back at West 14 lower level on the express drive.
Hey Bravo, what's 4th? That is a copy. Next callback Grand Street.
Southwood.
Juliet calling back at Chambers Street.
Chambers for the 2300 Juliet, that is a copy. Push for the Juliet line up. Your next callback is Essex Street.
Copy for Essex Street.
5 Black Rim Circle.
Circle 46 Bravo, that is a copy for 6th Avenue line up. Your next callback 42nd Street, Bryant Park.
Copy that.
235 Mary Broad Street, that is a copy. Push for the Montague Street tunnel. Your next callback is Lawrence.
$22.45 is at Essex Street.
245 Mary Essex has a copy. I'm holding you there for a minute to give the train in front of you some room.
Bravo is at 9th Avenue.
220 Bravo at 9th Avenue, that is a copy. Your next callback is 50th Street.
50th.
Monroe Avenue. NYC.
50 Juliet is at Marcy.
232 Juliet, Marcy Avenue southbound, that is a copy. Push for your J2 lineup. Your next callback is Essex Street. 2250 Juliet, Marcy Avenue northbound. Push for Nassau local lineup. Your next callback is Myrtle Broadway. 2245 Mary holding at Essex Street may depart. Your next callback is Canal Street.
Canal Street for the 2222.
22 Juliet Canal, that is a copy. For your Juliet lineup. Your next callback is your last stop, Broad Street.
Copy for Broad Street.
Grand Street.
Calling back at Atlantic Pacific. First track.
2230 Bravo, Atlantic Pacific, that is a copy. Your next callback is 36th Street. 2238 Bravo, Grand Street. Push for the Bravo lineup. Your next callback is decal interlocking.
2215 Mary's at 62nd.
215 Mary 62nd, that is a copy. Your next callback is your last stop, Bay Parkway.
Copy Bay Parkway.
2235 Mary at Lawrence, that is a copy for 4th Avenue local lineup. Your next callback is 4th Avenue, 9th Street.
Bravo's at 50th.
2220 Bravo, 50th Street, that is a copy. Your next callback is 18th Avenue.
18th.
254 Bravo, 103rd, that is a copy. Your next callback, Columbus Circle.
Airport.
2246 Bravo, that is a copy. Push for Bravo lineup. Your next callback is West 4th.
Copy.
Canal Street for the 45 Mary.
Now that is a copy. Your next callback is Fulton Street.
Copy.
$2,300 Juliet calling back at Essex Street.
300 Juliet Essex, that is a copy. Proceed across the bridge. Your next callback, Marcy Avenue.
Copy from Marcy.
Fulton Street.
9245 Mary Fulton has a copy and holding you there for 90 seconds. The train in front of you yet called back at Broad Street.
This is the 2238.
Calling back at
interlocking.
36th Street, Sunset Park.
Alright, 2238 Bravo, decob interlocking has a copy. Your procedure next callback is Atlantic Avenue Pacific. 2230 Bravo, 36. Push for West End lineup. Your next callback to 9th Avenue.
Copy that.
222 Broad Street.
Juliet Broad Street, that has a copy. Discharge your passengers. Push for the relay. Call back at the relay.
Copy for relay.
2232 Juliet has a copy. Push for Nassau lines. The next callback is Canal Street.
50 Juliet is at Myrtle Broadway.
2 Juliet Myrtle Broadway, that is a copy. Push for the Juliet lineup. Your next callback is Broadway Junction.
Copy.
Okay, 2245 Mary holding at Fulton. You may proceed. Your next callback is Broad Street. And a copy for Broad 45 Mary.
4.
Broad Street is clear for the Mary behind me.
That's a copy. 22.
What canal?
9232 Juliet, repeat.
Canal Street.
You sure you're not at Bowery? Because there's no way you got from Essex to Canal that quickly.
I am at canal.
Alright, 2232 Juliet, you're holding at Canal for 2 minutes. I do not believe you got that quick.
This is the
This was
2215
called-
Bay Parkway.
Bro, disregarded all of the speed limits.
2215 Mary Bay Parkway, that is a copy. You may discharge your passengers. Push for the relay, call back at the relay.
Copy for relay.
Broad Street for the 2245
9th Street, that is a copy. Your next call back is 36th Street.
22. Oh, my bad. You got that free.
2222 Juliet at the relay change ends. Let me know you're ready to head back up.
Oh, that's a copy.
2245 Mary at Broad Street. Push for Montague Street. Tell me your next call back is Lawrence.
2236 from back to West 4th.
246 Bravo West 4th. That is a copy. Your next call back is Grand Street.
2300 Juliet is at Marcy Avenue, punching for the local.
Marcy Avenue for 2300 Juliet. That is a copy. Your next call back is Myrtle Broadway.
Copy for Myrtle Broadway.
2238 Bravo, calling back at Pacific Street on the Express.
2238 Bravo Atlantic Pacific. That is a copy. Your next call back 36th Street.
10-4 Sunset Park.
$2220 Bravo's at 18th Avenue.
For 2220 Bravo, that is a copy. Your next call back is Bay Parkway.
2215 relay.
Thank you for your service. Have a good night.